lies.
Hey guys, Rob from Georgia here with you. I'm your Wednesday evening host here at BodyBags. It is week 430. It is random week. Therefore, I thought I'd run with another, well, big surprise, an Italian film. But this one is this is one I've been wanting to do for a long time, but I had to get my hands on it. And another Shriek show release. If you remember, I did Lindsay's Black Demons a couple weeks ago. This is another Shriek show release from 1988, man. We're talking Lamberto Bava here, man. No slouch at all. Well, this is made for TV, part of the Brivido Giallo 4-film set that was going to air on Italian TV. So if you remember the video I did on Lindsay's Black Demons, he was limited, if I remember right, he was limited by some things that really got under his skin, like the cast and the budget of sorts. But he shot on location in Brazil, hoping the atmosphere and everything else would generate, you know, a good experience. This, on the other hand, Bava, you know, talks about how he's the only thing that really limits them on this experience is that it's made for TV. And so you're limited by what you can show or not show, which is interesting. Now, anyways, this is, of course, I'm sure most of you are familiar with that cover. Man, for the longest time, you know, it's these movies that hang onto our periphery, and we just never snag them, but we think about them from time to time. This is one of those, man. I've so long wanted to get this. But I didn't know a whole lot about it. But I was pleasantly surprised to find out that Dardano Sacchetti was, in fact, wrote the script with Bava. Again, though, Sacchetti, in both of them, roots in love of the supernatural are really limited in terms of the scope and grandeur, what they can get away with in this film. So really, it's a tale of a great, phenomenal writer and a pretty darn good director. Maybe still or forever in the shadow of his father, Mauro Bava. Right? Bay of Blood, Black Friday, or Black Sunday. Black Friday, where'd that come from? Black Sunday. But still in his own right, man. I mean, Demons 2. I mean, come on, that might be the high point of his career. Perhaps Blade in the Dark, good as well. But this was something. He doesn't unlike Lindsay, he doesn't really get into a lot of discussion of, you know, there's a nice interview here on the Shriek show release, and he doesn't really get into things that discouraged him or unsettled him. It was a good experience. He really had fun. Shot on location at this castle in Italy, about 300-year-old castle. So you know the cinematography. Trying to think, I can't think of the guy's name now right now, but pretty sure he was an assistant cameraman on Four Flies on Grey Velvet, maybe with Dario, and also worked with Adolato. Pretty sure, Who Saw Her Die, in terms of shooting, or at least in the camera work. Simon Boswell on the score, it freaking delivers, man. The score is freaking good. But Sacchetti and Bava, man, work out the screenplay set in this castle, is where I was at, about 300-year-old castle. And this interview that Bava gives on the Shriek show release is really good, because he talks about this castle and the problems inherent in working in a place like this, where you got furniture that have been in place for like 300 years. And so when you're moving things around, it becomes tough, man, because, you know, you don't want to break anything. This stuff is worth more than, well, you can imagine. But the atmosphere just being contained, a lot of it is shot indoors, which also gratified him. He loves being contained, forcing his audience to be contained. And so, you know, so I had no idea Sacchetti was on this. And I said this was part of a, I think, Brivido Giallo 4-package film deal. Graveyard Disturbances, which I know has got a phenomenal release. I want to say 7, I could be wrong. Want to say. Until Death. I'm trying to think here. Of course, the Ogre, and which was marketed as Demons 3, which Bava goes into detail and says absolutely not. This is not Demons 3, the third piece to his own 2 film. work with Dario Argento. In fact, though, he does get into a little discussion on, not long, but he does mention how the church was initially meant to be the Michele Soavi production, ultimately ended up becoming its own thing. But that began and was developed as an extension or a third piece to the Demon Saga, as it would have been. And it's, you know, when you go back and you look at that movie, and I guess you can sort of see where that could have been. Really probably would have served, I would imagine, as a prequelish type film, I guess, setting the stage of how all that stuff happened, which could have been freaking cool. Instead, what we got is a pretty darn good film from Michele Soavi. But this is 88, so, you know, Italian horror is, it's coming to an end, man. It's coming to an end. It's going to have a really big bang in the form of Michele Soavi's own Della Morte dell'Amore, which may be the last great Italian horror film to come out. That thing is just almost in its own right a masterpiece. But at the core of the story, really what you have here is you have a lady who we're introduced to as a little girl in the beginning, probably right in the midst of a nightmare, is attacked by an ogre, which I know there's a little bit of history on that creature. Generally goes after women and stuff. But you know, she comes out of the nightmare, but it's interesting because she leaves her teddy bear, I want to say. It's left behind in the dream. So it's kind of like Nightmare inverted, right? Instead of pulling something out, you leave something behind. That's really pretty freaking cool now that I think about it. I didn't think about that before. And that will play back, because then eventually the nightmare ends and she, you know, mom wakes her up, consoles her. And they, you know, jump out years later. Her and her little boy and her husband are renting a castle on vacation. And she's a writer, horror novelist writer. And she starts to have these visions, dreams, that this ogre is coming back. And of course, Paolo Malco plays her husband, who of course is the father from House by the Cemetery, Fulci's freaking part of his Gates of Hell trilogy. And no one believes her, right? And not until the end of the movie, of course. But you're sort of left, and even Bava hints at that he sort of hints that this is really just, in the end, at the end of the day, a figment of her imagination unleashed. So there's some interesting concepts here in terms of the supernatural, things that he's playing with, but then again, he's limited by the scope of TV and what TV offers. And that maybe is the only unfortunate side of this. Now, every little bit, and I didn't read a lot, but every little bit of review, including Harper's book, Italian Horror, did not have really anything good to say about this movie. I will recommend this movie, man. You love freaking Italian cinema. Even in its latter stages, you love to see Sacchetti join up with Bava, even though it's made for TV. And Angelo Mattai, and I don't know if there's relation to Bruno Mattai there, handles special effects, which is pretty cool. Did work on Demons, want to say. All around, man, there's some interesting hands at work here to create an interesting vision, well restrained that it may be. It is interesting nonetheless. In fact, I'm going to tell you what, I really had fun with this. I really enjoyed it. Some of the concepts that he was working with. You probably just heard my stupid drag off. Anyway, so I think I'm just going to leave it at there. I'm going to say 1988 Lamberto Bava's The Ogre. And here, week 430. This is definitely worth seeking out and taking a look at. I don't remember it being much money when I picked it up recently as part of my Christmas haul. I don't know, 12, 15 bucks or something. For me, it was worth it just because I'm building an Italian collection. And, you know, who's not a fan of Lamberto Bava? Come on now. Marketed as Demons 3, but really not. That is left to the world of what the church could have been, but wasn't. Gotta love the Italians for how they market things, right? So anyways, I'm going to leave it at there, and not sure where my time is, but I did enjoy this, and I do recommend this. May not be the most exciting Italian horror film you've ever seen, but then again, when you've seen things like Zombie or the Gates of Hell trilogy or Suspira, really, Not everything could be at that freaking level. You know what I mean? I loved it. I mean, well, loved is kind of strong. I really enjoyed it, and I am going to revisit it. And the other 3 movies that make up that package for Italian TV here in the late 80s. So, Bava here. Anyways, let me just leave this off with, how about my freaking Bulldogs winning the freaking national freaking championship against Bama? And how about my Bills last night taking down New England in pretty dramatic fashion? When I say dramatic, I mean they dismantled that team. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. As always, man, as always, just stay plugged in. Rest of the week, it's random. The end of the week or end of the month, we'll bring theme week. I do believe it's Dollar Tree Horror, maybe. And if that's the case, I'm running with Yakuza Apocalypse. So, Takashi Mike, that I picked up in the Dollar Tree, some time ago. Anyways, Body Bags, where it's at, right? Thank you for your support. Thank you for watching. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for all that you guys do each and every day these videos drop. Thank you, thank you, thank you. As always, we'll leave these things off with Go Bills.
This is not a dream. Not a dream.